and welcome. I'm Farah Khaleck, and this is Self-Care Chats with Farah, where we inspire personal growth by sharing diverse experiences that will positively charge and transform mindsets to love and appreciate oneself. Before we start, I would like to quickly remind our viewers to subscribe to my channel, and listeners, do follow the show on whatever platform you're enjoying this podcast on. In today's episode, I am joined by Samira Sawlani. Samira is a journalist, she's a writer and analyst with a focus on East Africa. Hello Samira, and thank you for hanging out with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Same, I am.
It's been like a month since you sent the invite. I was leaving, I remember I boarded my flight in London when I got your message.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, 100%, I'm doing this.
And I was like, oh wow, she's on her way back.
Yeah, I know, the psychic abilities, huh? Right, just I was on the plane when that message came through.
Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's hot. Nairobi is hot, and I'm getting used to the heat. But overall, I've got used to everything now. Got used to the homesickness that sometimes comes, and it comes and it goes for London. But overall, I'm good.
So you're between London and Kenya?
At the moment, yeah. So for the last 14 months, I've been back and forth. I've been mainly in London, and then I would come here for a month, and then in September I was here almost 3 months, and then I went home, and then now I'm back here, and again I'll be here until April, and then I'll go back, and then I'll come back.
Great. Which always has you in the country?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. It's always nice. It's hard living between two places, but it's also nice living between two places.
Yeah, I feel like you get to see it from both sides.
Yeah, you do, and it's so different, you know, like you land in London and you feel like, oh my goodness, and then when you land in Nairobi it takes a few days as well to adjust to everything, the weather, the chaos, all of it. Yeah.
So now, please tell us a little bit more about what you do and your work.
This is always such an interesting question. So I'm a journalist, I'm a writer, I'm a columnist. I mainly cover politics of East Africa and now the wider continent. So you always find me on Twitter tweeting the news from different countries on the African continent. And I have a column for the continent, which is kind of satirical, or I make a little bit of fun of some of our politicians. And then I also have a weekly column for Debunk Media, which is a little bit more Kenya focused. So yeah, that's, you know, social media, writing, journalisting. That's generally my day job.
It sounds also interesting, but I know as a writer, there's nothing easy there.
But it's the weirdest thing because, you know, you always see these memes, like when you're pitching a piece, it's a picture of a little girl smiling, looking excited. And then when you have to write the piece, it's a picture of a little girl crying. And that's how I think it is. In theory, it's, oh yeah, I'm a writer, I get to write, I've been commissioned to write this piece. And then when it comes down to writing it, some days it's easy, other days, you know, I had a deadline yesterday for Monday, and all weekend I was just causing drama, causing arguments, getting upset over things, because I so wanted to avoid having to sit down and write the piece. Yeah, you know it when you do newsletter.
I know it.
You'll find that will be the day you'll be like, let me clean the house today. Let me arrange my clothes in color order. Any excuse to not have to do it.
Say that again.
Basically.
Wow. I literally wait for my newsletter to end, and then it run out, sit down. Okay, it has to go out today.
When the pressure is on, you know, when it's like you don't have a choice but to do it, is when you'll sit down to do it.
Yeah.
So when I meet writers who are like, oh, I have a deadline in 2 weeks and I've started already, I'm like,
how?
Why
would you
if I have a deadline in 2 weeks, you best believe it's going to take me 12 days before I even think about doing the piece.
I know, and Samira online, I follow this gurus, you know, coaches who like, you have to have an idea bank, you know, and then I can't, you know, like my ideas just come out and I want to write.
That's it.
can't have a bell anywhere.
I think when it's really nice to hear writers and everyone talk about that process, do it this way, do it that way, but actually doing it, for me,
I can't. Oh God.
You know, I remember someone saying, just write every day. Write 20 minutes, just whatever comes into your head. And I got the perfect notebook and I got the perfect stationery. And it's still sitting there. I've never opened it, nothing. I'm just...
It's not you.
No. You write when you have to write, basically.
What is something that you can do to show love?
What is something that I can do to show love? I think for me, I have this tendency, if I'm out and I see something that I think you will like, I will always pick it up. You know, even if it's a cookie or something, be like, oh, you know, I know she likes that flavor, let me get it. So I think that's generally my way of showing love. I saw this and thought of you, is my way of doing it. I can be quite, when I love someone, I can be quite smothering. I'll call, I'll text, I'll get you things, yeah. So, but I think there's something, so even if someone stops and takes a photo of a tree and they're like, I saw this and thought of you, to me that's such an act of love. Because our minds are so busy, we're going about our days, so much is going on, so to stop, that's the way.
That's so beautiful. And to think of it, it's so true that you thought of me, you know, in your busy day. That's a big thing.
That is a big thing. When people do it for me, I'm like, oh.
What improved your quality of life and when you did it and you wish that you had done it earlier?
Lifting weights at the gym and meditation. Those are the two things. So I used to go to the gym. I've been going to the gym for years, but I would generally do a lot more cardio and high intensity training. And then in the last almost year and a half, I would say, over a year and a half, I like properly lift heavy weights, or aspire to at least. And it's changed my thinking, it's changed the way I look at the world. When I go in there, I can go in a bad mood and I come out, and it's also taught me to push past my mental barriers, like, oh, I can't lift it, I can't lift it. And I have such an amazing trainer that I work with in London who has me lifting numbers I never thought I'd be able to lift. And I do wish I'd discovered that 10 years ago. And meditation, because those who know me will tell you I have a bit of a bad temper and I can be quite feisty. And though there are times when that is necessary, a lot of the times it isn't. And what I've noticed about myself is if I lose my temper, there's no space between thought and action. If I'm angry, I will say hurtful things. And meditation has slowly created a space between thought and action. So now I have moments where something's upset me or I'm angry, and whereas before, whatever's going on in my head, I'll lash out. There's a space sometimes where I'm like, you know, step back, go inside, step away, and think before you speak. So those are the two things. I just feel like meditation, I can't put into, you know, I don't have enough words in terms of how life-changing that's been. And I try and do it every day, once a day. And when I do it consistently, everything in my life is more settled. When I become inconsistent with it, my moods are all over the place, and people around me, they suffer.
What's your form of meditation?
I do guided stuff off the Calm app or YouTube. Sit down, breathe. Sometimes the guided ones can be a bit distracting, so I'll switch them off. Sometimes it's what I'll tend to do is if I'm feeling anxious, I'll be like meditation for anxiety. Like I try and identify the feeling I'm battling with, and other times it's just the mindfulness one. Because I think, especially with my job and social media, it's so easy to not be present that I sometimes need 10 minutes to just come back down to earth. Yeah.
Meditation is so powerful, and I find it so weird. It's simple, but we don't
But do you ever want to do it? Because I never want to do it.
No.
I have to force myself.
Yeah, it's true. You never want to do it. Do you know what there's a way I found a trick that I use that is easy to incorporate it in the daily in my daily is, we have 5 times of prayer, right?
Yeah.
So whenever the azan calls, I just quiet and then sit for that 1 minute. And then just listen to the azan and like, and it just calms you down.
And it's perfect because the thing is,
Yeah.
I think meditation doesn't have to be this hour-long whatever, and every little helps. So even if it's just for the short times of prayer, when the call to prayer is on, just
do it.
Just
or
do it
sometimes
then.
when I'm just reading my prayer and I'm just done, I just, we normally read and then you just have to get up, go back to life, so just have a
take
sit
a few
there.
minutes.
Yeah, just a few minutes.
I mean, I've heard another version is, if you're really going through it and things are busy, just name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can smell. Just name them and you come back down to earth. And it takes 2 minutes, but that 2 minutes can change.
That's such an
Change your
amazing
day.
trait.
That's it.
That is so good.
Just naming five things you can see, 4 things you can smell, 3 things you can touch. Just brings you back into the
to
room.
where you are.
Yeah.
That's so easy.
But I know even then I don't want to do it.
Yeah. What activity brings you enjoyment and how much? Often do you do it?
Okay, so it's going to sound, I love reading, and I think for people who do read my work, I every year do a best books of the year by African writers. In every December that list comes out because I read a lot. I read a lot more fiction, and while I do read some heavier fiction, I also have, they're called cozy mysteries, which are these really light murder mysteries that, you'll have someone who owns a cake shop and someone in the village has been murdered and they're solving. It just really relaxes me. So I think reading and walking, which is why Nairobi has been a little bit difficult for me, because if I want to walk where I live, we have a nice garden. And if you want to walk, you have to go to like the Karuras, whereas in London, I can walk pretty much anywhere. And so that part's been a bit harder because I walk a lot and I enjoy it and it clears my mind, and sometimes I'll walk in silence, sometimes podcasts, sometimes I'll send voice notes to my friends during that time. So I'd say reading and walking, those are my 2 things, which is why sometimes I can be so cranky when I'm here if I haven't managed to get my walk.
To get your walk?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What does it mean to you when someone says relax? What does relaxing mean to you, Samira?
Oh gosh, there's a new... Usually when someone says to me relax, I'm like, what? What does it mean to relax? I think it's to put my phone away. I think you could be in the middle of everything and it could be loud and it could be chaotic, and just putting my phone away, my social media away, I'm relaxing. That to me is a way to relax. And walking outside.
That is so true. And in this small gadget that we have in our lives, that we can't live without it, apparently.
And you can't live with it, you can't live without it, the whole thing. It's just,
Oh, wow. And how does Samira handle high stress situations?
I cry. Forget high stress, even low stress, I cry. I think most people will tell you I cry more than the average person. If I'm stressed, everything will get done, but there'll be a lot of drama, there'll be a lot of crying, there'll be a lot of looking miserable. I have a boyfriend, and I think sometimes he just looks at me like, what do I even do with this? So I think generally, high stress, there's a lot of emotional release, but yes, there is meditation. And also yoga, like YouTube yoga. There's a channel called Yoga with Adrian, and she has yoga for stress, yoga for anxiety, and they're small 15-20 minute practices. And as soon as I'm in a high stress place, I'll go on YouTube and find one of those, because it just helps me move through whatever's going on.
Crying is good. It's good that you don't hit it.
The amount I cry, I don't know. Sometimes you think, there's like a tap that's just been left running. That's how it is.
But honestly, just it's really good that you let it out.
Yeah. Oh, I can't hold things in.
Yeah.
No.
It's really nice that you let it out. I'm happy that you do. Please try. Just try. Let it out. I cry ugly tears. I'm telling you, I can my mom would just let me be and let me, cry. But yeah.
The next time I want to cry, I'll call you. Because I think everyone else is tired. I think they're like, oh, she's crying again. She was crying 10 minutes ago. Now what?
No, just hardly. What, how does your morning start? Like, take us through your typical morning routine.
So I'm an early riser. I wake up quite early. I'm not great with sleep, so I'm generally up quite early. I try as soon as I'm up to go outside in the garden, be it here or at home in London, and get 10 minutes of daylight. That's what I try and do. Then I come back in. This is on a very disciplined morning. Then I'll do my 10 minutes of meditation. Have breakfast, which is usually fruit, nuts, yogurt, like a good substantial amount. And then I get ready and go to the gym. That's a good morning. The less good mornings, I'll wake up, I'll lay in bed, I'll force myself to meditate, I'll do 5 minutes and get fed up, and I'll go on Twitter. And that's the one thing I tell myself, don't look at your social media
in the morning.
Some mornings I'm successful, other mornings not so much. And I notice a difference in my day. If as soon as my eyes open I check my phone, I almost feel like I need a shower. Something in my mind doesn't feel as balanced as it does if I look at it afterwards.
It's so true. I also stopped looking at social media in the morning.
Doesn't it make all the difference?
It does. Oh my god. There was a time I would do that. I need to post a story. I'm having coffee, I need to post a story. I'm having breakfast, I need to post a story. My god. And then I went on this trip and I was like, wow.
Do you still feel like tempted in the morning?
No, I don't. I'm like, no, I need, because now I have, I have literally worked out, created a system for myself. Samira, there was a time last year, I was so, so low, because I was like, I'm not doing anything, I'm just scrolling on social media, I have to post, and I'm not posting. So I was like, wait, there's something wrong with you. So now I was like, no, my mornings are not starting well, So I was like, okay, we have to change this.
Absolutely.
I started, so as someone dealing with the Swaradharma, when I wake up in the morning, my body is not so active. So it takes at least an hour for me to be able to get out of bed, because my body is really tight at that time and swollen sometimes. So I was like, okay, wait, I can't get into the shower. That's what I thought. And I didn't wrote on my newsletter about this, and I was like, I can't believe why I let my mind think that I can't take a shower in the morning. So I would wake up, brush my teeth, sit down, have breakfast, start working on the laptop, and then have a shower around 11, 12.
Okay.
Because I'm like, okay, now I'm awake, But by that time, I'm already drained.
Of course.
You've
been on the laptop.
Yeah, I'm already drained. So now I'm like, no. So now, first thing, brush your teeth, in the shower, then sit down, have breakfast, then start work.
That's it.
And by that time, I'm like, okay, you know what? Look at your task, start your task, and then social media comes away, around 12.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, you are a content creator, oh, like this one.
That is amazing.
But then I'm like, no, I'm going to, if I'm going to be truly myself online as well, as I want to, as my brand stands for, and that's being real. This is who I am, I can't, if there's something I can't handle, I can't handle. If there's a post that is going on, it should go out on the day when I'm able to post it, So let me not stress myself with this content schedules and, all this. I was like, no, this is not working. Because I'm out there telling people, be you, be real, and I'm here trying to clip up and, suffering myself. What's that?
I think that it has to be about authentic. I think social media is about authenticity.
Yeah.
And this is part of that authenticity.
Yes.
That feeling of not having to force when you go online.
Yeah.
You know, it being like, no, I need to do this on my time scale with what works with my mental health. And that's it. Mental health comes first.
You know, and outside, you know, even when I speak to my community, we have a small WhatsApp community of people living with autoimmune and chronic conditions. So I always tell them, you don't have to, you know, don't look at all these influencers and content creators. They're doing amazing stuff. I'm not, I truly respect them, you know, but they are different. They have their ability.
Of course.
You know, you look at your body, listen to your body.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, behave more with it.
Definitely.
You know?
And the comparison thing, I think, is so natural.
Yeah.
But it's what gets us into trouble.
Yes.
Because everyone has stuff they are, their own lives, what they're living with, health things. And if we all start being like, look at how she's posting and he's posting, I have to do the same.
Yeah.
The thing that gets sacrificed is your well-being, and nothing. Gosh, all these years later now, I'm like, nothing is worth that.
What would you say is your best character trait?
There's a tricky one. I'm very empathetic. I'm very, very empathetic, and it's something. I always say that there's two compliments I love. One when people tell me I look like my mum. I love it when people tell me that. The two is my empathy, and the third is my emotional intelligence. So I guess those two tie in together. I can read people very well. I can empathize, and for someone who, you know, does have a bit of a temper and has been seen as quite feisty, it's nice to have that side of me to balance it out. You know, I'm grateful for the empathy I have. I think it's more than sometimes I would like, but it's the one trait I'm so grateful for.
And you should be proud of it. Not many people have that.
Yeah, it's not something I feel weird saying it, but it's there. I think it stands out. You know, people who know me for a short time will always say, oh, wow, you're very empathetic, and I'm like, yeah. That's just how I've been brought up. It's very innate, and I'm glad to have that.
That's good. I love that you mentioned that when someone tells you that you live with your mom.
I love it.
And like, doesn't every child want that?
I love it. You know, when I was at the media festival, I did my own makeup that day, and I took a photo and I sent it to her, and I said, you know, whenever I do my makeup like this, I feel like, because we don't outwardly look the same, but if you look closely, there's just a slight similarity. I said, you know, every time I do my makeup like this, I look like you and I love it. And she found it so funny. I just love it. I don't know what it is. I love it. My favorite thing.
That's so nice. Samira, when were you most disappointed in yourself?
Oh God. How long have you got, Farah? When was I most disappointed in myself? Oh gosh. I have so many options here.
Wow.
That I'm going to pick one.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think I have disappointed myself on a regular basis, and I think that's life. I think the way to learn to live with yourself is to accept that you will disappoint yourself. And I think it's every occasion where I have not kept my temper in check, and I've hurt people unnecessarily. I think it's that, and I think a few years ago I made a decision to give someone a chance despite my instinct saying don't, and one of the biggest mistakes of my life, I would say. And I was disappointed because I said to myself, you knew better, you knew, and you still gave this person a chance, and look at what it's cost you. So I would say that. But I have a list. If we had longer, you know.
Alright, and when are you the most proud of yourself?
When I got my column, because since about 2014, 2015, I would say to people, I really want a column where I write about what's going on in Africa, a weekly column, and I would tweet about it. And then when I heard that this new publication was coming out, I'd worked with the editor before, and I just said to myself, just be brave and ask. And he said, okay, send me what your first column would be like. I remember writing it, sending it, and giving these big explanations and apologies, and it's okay if you don't like it. And he was like, I love it. And I haven't looked back since. You know, I've been writing it for over 2 years now. And till now, when people compliment it, or even when I just write it, I'm like, wow, gosh, I have my very own column. And I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud because also writing a column means whatever your mood is like, whatever's going on in your life, you need to show up and write it every week. The publication comes out on a Saturday, I wake up on a Thursday morning, by Thursday night that column has to be in. And argue with your mom, argue with your boyfriend, you're upset about something, you're in a bad mood, it doesn't matter. The discipline that takes as someone who discipline is not natural to me, every time I manage to keep to that schedule, which is every week without fail, I'm proud.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, because, oh my God, discipline and me. No.
Wow.
No.
And I feel like you're more disciplined than you take credit for.
It takes so much work. And especially then when you are surrounded by people who do have a lot of discipline. So if I look at my brother and sister, they're very disciplined people. So I compare myself to them, I'm like, huh.
Yeah, you guys are cool.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, okay. And I remember reading this interview with Eliot Kipchoge, and he was, you know, and I'm paraphrasing quite badly here, but he said, you know, it's all about self-discipline, because if you don't have that, you're a slave to your whims and your fancies and your desires. And I was like, is he talking about me? Because I'll wake up and I'll have a deadline and I'll be like, but I want to go to Art Cafe for lunch. That's what happened on Sunday. I was like, but I want to go out to eat. And, you know, okay, you have a deadline. So went out, messed around the whole day. In the evening, I look at the time, I'm like, well, you have a deadline, so be prepared to stay up all night now. I got it done, but still.
Wow!
Yeah.
I love it. I love the adventurous.
Oh yeah. It's like a child. It's like having an internal child, my inner child who rules everything. So it makes all the decisions.
Right. Oh gosh. Who in your family do you view as a role model?
Who in my family do I? You know, they all have so much to show and give. I come from a very big family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, aunts and siblings who are also like my grandparents. There is so much, and I think if I just keep it with my immediate family, my dad's very calm nature is wonderful. My mum's empathy and kindness is you know, unrivaled. My sister's way of just aiming for something and getting it done, and she's you know, got a 1-year-old, my nephew, and how much of an amazing mum she is. My brother is very gentle, and I take that from him. My sister-in-law is very kind. My brother-in-law is very funny, and so I think in terms of role models, there isn't just one, but they all have traits which I admire and will say to myself, you know, you could be a bit more like her or a bit more like him in this situation.
That's so beautiful. That's so wholesome.
Yeah, they're a wholesome bunch.
Yeah. One thing Samira does without fail. Procrastinate.
Basically. Procrastinate and cry. One thing I do without fail, I think I find a way to move my body every day. Be it walks, be it training at the gym, be it yoga. I find a way every single day, even if I have to walk in the living room, I move my body every day. It's so integral for me and my mental well-being.
That's so more than important as well. Samira, when anyone mentions childhood, there's that's one memory that always stands out. You know, that one mad crazy memory of childhood that always stands out. You know, for it.
Gosh. You know, I was a very chaotic child. My parents really, they suffered. Even now, I think out of the three of us, I'm the firstborn. I'm still keeping them suffering. But one of my most chaotic, I would say, is You know, I have two. One, I tried to convince my sister that she was adopted, and I think I succeeded for a while. I think I did. And then the other one was we ended up having an argument, and there used to be a photo of us, both of us together, in the living room. And I went outside and I came back in, and she'd taken it and she'd coloured my face in, and you couldn't see my face anymore. And she got into a lot of trouble, but I really enjoyed the fact that she got into a lot of trouble for that. So those are probably my memories.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was a lot of work as a child. Oh gosh, I really tried. Like I really wanted her to believe that she was adopted. I used to really do weird things like this. You know, we'd like race up and down the stairs, and she would always beat me. So what I would do is I would pretend I'd fallen over and be like, injury, injury, injury. So she'd stop for me and then I'd run. So yeah, I was terrible. Gosh, both of them, the younger ones, they've suffered under me as well. It's terrible. I'm a terrible firstborn. Oh my goodness.
What were you most afraid of as a child?
I still have the same fear, the dark. Really afraid of the dark. As a kid as well, even now, can't sleep in the dark, have to have the TV on when I sleep. Yeah, that's my, till now it hasn't changed.
So do you keep the light on or something?
I keep a night light, or generally I keep the TV on. I watch TV and then I fall asleep, and then at some point it switches itself off. And if I wake up in the middle, I have to switch it back on again. Yeah, absolutely terrified of the dark. Because you don't know what's out there in the dark, right? You know? And as you grow older, it gets worse and worse, isn't it? Especially as a woman.
Yeah, true. What does Samira want to hear right now?
That it's okay to struggle. Because as much as I have a lovely life and career, living between two countries is not easy. And I have days where I'm completely okay, and I have days when I just want to leave the house and go to JKIA and get on the first plane, and to remind yourself again and again that being homesick is normal. When I'm in London, there's things about Nairobi I miss, and that it's okay to struggle because it's so hard. You know, you feel like I'm a grown woman, this should be okay. I've been in Kenya long enough now to be adjusting to things. So yeah, that's the one for me. That
If I may ask, what about Nairobi do you love the most?
do I love them? You know, Farah, when I came here the first time, I said my dream is to live in Kenya.
Here?
No, I'm not from here at all.
Okay.
I was like, I want to live in Kenya one day. And now when I have the chance, I'm like, where? I think the people are very friendly. They're very warm. So, for example, if in the UK you walk into the gym, we're not very hi, hello, we're not always. Over here, when I walk in, everyone will smile, everyone will say hello. I love that. And even though they are cutting down the trees, which is so problematic, Nairobi's beautiful. You know, I love when we go out for a drive and you see the bougainvillea, or in jacaranda season, you see the trees. I never take that for granted. You know, I love the nature here. Yeah.
Amazing. You had mentioned about your parents, that you love their kindness and empathy. So what special tradition from your childhood would you like to carry forward with your own children?
So when my grandparents did this, and my mum still does this, and my dad does as well, in the morning when they wake up, they'll put bread out for the pigeons, because you know we have a lot of pigeons in the UK, birds. And for me, there's something really special about that. You know, you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you take out pieces of bread and you put it in the garden for the birds to come and eat. And my grandparents used to do it in India with the cows and the birds. They'd leave food out for them first thing in the morning. And so for me, it's definitely that. And also, I love that my parents encouraged us to do things like believe in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, because as you grow up, you find life is hard. The world can be cruel. So I think keeping kids believing in a bit of magic, I'm so grateful they did that for me. And so that is something I would love to carry forward.
Oh, I reminded me a lot of Santa Claus. There was a time I had to tell a letter to him.
Did he bring you what you wanted? What did you tell him?
Yeah, so obviously my parents are the ones who wanted that.
It's really sad when you realise that, isn't it? You're like, hang on a minute.
So I was sitting, I grew up with my grandma. I used to sit with her. So she used to live with us. So I told her, I wanted a storybook and some stationery and some books. So my mom was like, so I write a letter. So I wrote a letter and in the middle of the letter, I'm looking at the window sill and my grandma is like, oh, it's me.
He won't come if you don't sleep.
Yeah.
You always
She was mad because I was irritating her. Go to sleep. I said, okay. In the morning, I'm like, there's no letter there. The letter is still there. But then my mom had kept the picture right next to my bed. And I'm like, this is not happening. Like, no ways. So when they grew up a little, and then my brothers told me, so they were just making fun of me. I'm like, okay, let me say hot, yeah. And then like, for sure, did I really say
I know when you grow up, you're like, what were you thinking, believing that? Like, where?
I even laughed with that on the announcement.
But wasn't it so nice to have the time when you wrote that letter, that anticipation, that magic, like, oh my God, I'm sending this letter and he might bring me what I want. And how nice it is in a world that can be difficult.
Then I realized I should have asked for a doll. I should have asked for something else.
Since you've turned up, I wish I made that list longer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, do you think people are made for each other?
Because I'm so in love right now, yes. But I'm going to caveat that with, and I don't think, growing up, I grew up on a lot of Disney, princess and Bollywood. And none of these things teach you that you can be made for each other, but you have to do a lot of work to maintain and build relationships. So that would be the only caveat I would put, that being made for each other doesn't mean that you don't have to do any work, that it's just going to be so straightforward.
Definitely, yeah.
Some days it's a lot of work. And then some days it's just easy, right? You'll just be watching TV together and you'll be like, wow. But that is because I'm so in love right now.
What do you look forward to doing most with your partner?
So he's Kenyan, so he's from here, and my favorite thing is, and it sounds so basic, but I love when we go for drives. And we'll literally go for a drive, go to the supermarket, maybe go for lunch. And the thing I love about it is he'll show me things and point things out to me and say, when I was a child, we had that, or we did that, or this is a funny story in the 90s in Kenya. And there's something so nice about learning about your partner's childhood through places and things. So for me, it's that, like, you should see me on the weekend. I'm like, so we're going to go for a drive and for lunch. And he's like, okay, just calm down. It's my favorite thing to do with him. I just love it, and I love the stories that I get to hear.
What do you look for in a friendship?
Kindness. The world is cruel. Kindness and honesty. I think that's the basis for me for any relationship. Be kind, but be honest. I really appreciate my friends who do call me out on my nonsense, but they do it in a kind way. So it's those two things. Be kind, but be frank and honest when that is necessary.
And what would you say has had the biggest impact in your life to date?
Probably my mom. She's taught me a lot, I think because at the core of me is that kindness and empathy. That's something she's taught me, and she's taught me how to deal with difficult situations. And she's always been there. My parents are great like that, like my career, whatever, I want to do this, I want to do that. They've always had my back. I've made so many mistakes in my life, and they've always been there to help me pick up the pieces, and they've never said, you should have known better. So I would say it's both of them, definitely my mum.
What keeps you grounded?
The fear of failure, probably. Knowing that, life is very transient, and if you run away with yourself and your successes and your good days, you don't know when those will pass. So I think being humble and trying to have a sense of humility, generally, I never try and get ahead of myself. Like, one of my dreams was to write for the New York Times, and last year it happened. They commissioned me for a piece on Kenya's elections. The article was on the front page, and I was like, that's it, I made the front page of the New York Times. And then the next day, I was like, you need to get up and do your general life, because you made the front page yesterday, but today, you're not doing anything. Go to the gym, get on with your life. So I think it's just knowing that nothing is permanent.
That's so powerful. We forget very easily.
Oh, man.
Very easily. We get so caught up in the buzz at the moment and the vibe and the rush.
The successes and the likes and the retweets.
Yes.
And there'll be a day when they're talking about something else and retweeting someone else.
Yes.
Then
you
crash.
You still have you.
You still have you.
You still have you. That's so powerful. Whose opinion do you value the most and why?
My sister and my brother. I would say my siblings. Just because I respect them so much for the things they've done with their lives. And they know me in a way that no one else really does, right? Like, no matter how much you say, I think your siblings know you because they know you from when you were tiny. So then both of them.
What bad habits do you have that you'd like to stop?
I would like Farah to stop throwing tantrums when things don't go my way. I would like to not be as clingy as I am, and I would like to stop procrastinating when I have deadlines. And I would also like to stop hiding from the world, like anything that requires like video, I have to force myself to be visible. So yeah, there's never one bad habit, there's 4 there.
Are you taking any steps towards improving yourself?
The meditation for the tantrums, and I have therapy, like, I see a therapist because I know that for me that's just a way to release whatever's going on. The procrastination, actually, there's a lady on Twitter that I follow, and she, gosh, I can't remember her name. Her name's Nawal, but I can't remember her Instagram handle. She's got like over 1 million followers, and she put this post up about procrastination, that whatever you don't want to do it for 10 minutes. And if at the end of that 10 minutes you don't want to continue, put it away. That's been quite life.
Yeah.
Even when I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, just go for 10 minutes, do one exercise, and I'll finish the workout. So those are the small steps I'm taking. And being visible, saying yes to even this, because I'm like, my face, I don't want my face. So just being like, you're not always going to be comfortable doing things you don't want to do. Push past.
When you look into the mirror, do you love what you see?
No. I can't lie. No, I don't. I really don't. And that's, these are some of the things I think which can be, a lifelong journey, right? Learning to like what you see, love yourself, your physical appearance, your character, your personality. So no, we're not there yet. We're trying, but we're not there yet. Yes.
And if I would ask you, what's your favorite part of your body?
I like my hair. I do. I like my hair. I'm like, oh yeah, my hair. That's what you see. If you ever see me in things, I'm always flicking my hair around, playing with my hair, this, that. It's my hair. I think I'm lucky. I've got good genetics for my hair. Yeah.
What would you say is a turning point of your life?
The pandemic, because I lost a few family members, and I think that was when think that was when I realised that it sounds so trite, but life really is too short. And also when I got into the relationship I'm in now, and between that and my career, knowing that I would have to take the leap and spend more time in Nairobi and get myself out of my comfort zone of, you know, my family and that cocoon in London. Those were my two turning points. You know, that moment when you realise you have to be a grown-up. Because I've avoided it for a long time, being a grown-up. So.
And have you changed as a person since then?
Yeah, I'm a lot more mature, a lot more self-sufficient, and a lot more self-aware. I think because coming to Nairobi and then at the same time kind of being in a relationship, you really see the ugly parts of yourself as well, you know, and so being like, you know, Missy, you're not perfect. You think you're perfect, but you're not perfect. So self-awareness has grown. Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
I love that for you.
I love that for me too.
I love that for you. You know, to be honest, when I hear people talking about themselves and, you know, learning about themselves, it just makes me feel like, yes, you're on the right track.
And I think that everyone at some point, you know, should have that moment where they look inwards, because you're not always going to like what you see.
Yeah.
But
self-reflection is so important.
Yeah.
And I feel like people normally emphasize on it in the beginning of the year or during the end of the year. No, do it anytime, you know, like whenever you feel down or you feel out and you're like, well, what's wrong? You know, start asking yourself those questions.
Look at what's dark inside. Where is that darkness from? What's that about? I think you don't want to overthink, but I think you have to self-reflect. You know.
A mistake that you've learned the most from?
Giving that person a chance that I shouldn't have given a chance to. That I have learned. You know, I think so many things, right? You learn about how I don't trust myself, I don't trust my own instincts. I can be blind to people's faults. That I think was also a real turning point. But yeah, like that's probably been one of my biggest lessons. You know, like that mistake taught me, and I think what it also taught me was how I can not prioritize myself and prioritize someone else. And that was the moment where I was like, you know, in the end, you have to live with you, and it's your career, and it's your finances, and it's your life, and it's the decisions you're making, and then you can't hide away from that every time.
True.
Yeah.
What brings you joy?
My nephew, who's 1, and he's like the love of my life, and my work. As much as I moan and complain sometimes, I love my work. I love that I get to interview cool people. I love that I get to write about amazing people. Love that I get to make people laugh when I do my column, that I get to tell stories. For some reason, I love politics. So when I see whatever's going on, I'm so into it.
You're into it.
Yeah, you know, I just love it. It really fulfills me.
Great. What's exciting about life right now?
Being in Nairobi. Being in Nairobi is exciting. It's, you know, it's nice to learn a new system, a new city. So my Uber, and I get around in Ubers and Bolts, and before, because I pay by card, a lot of the drivers would cancel on me, and I'd get frustrated and I'd cry. And I'd say to my boyfriend, I was going to the gym and 3 of them have cancelled on me. Watching that now, when they I always prepare for them to cancel. So I'll order it earlier, get ready knowing 2 or 3 will cancel on me. Watching my own growth, that's exciting. Yeah. And
So then now what do you do? Do you think?
I just say to myself, if you want to leave by 11, you know some drivers are going to cancel on you. Call the cab at 10. Start ordering from 10:45. Pack your bag for the gym, whatever in that time. They'll come when they come. You can't win against an entire city, right? An entire
Right.
system's not going to change for you.
True.
Nairobi is character development in the nicest way. You know, it's real. It's
I
real.
love that.
It's every day I'm like, wow, there's a new lesson today. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be your intro song?
What would be my intro song? I'm now stuck between two, Beyonce or Rihanna. Probably Beyonce Partition, something like that, yeah.
And finally, do you love yourself?
Most days. Most days. I care for myself. Love can come and go sometimes. That's a work in progress. But I do care. I do care for myself. And it's taken me a long time, many years of being very careless with myself to understand and accept when people around me were saying, you matter, you know? Yeah, that changed things a lot. Yeah.
That's such a true, genuinely, honest feeling. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, this was so much fun.
No, we're not yet done yet.
We're
We
not-
have
oh,
a
good.
small hint.
Okay.
Never have I ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have, you take a sip of your drink.
Okay.
Okay? Alright. Never have I ever lived alone. You have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never have I ever fallen asleep in public. No? Never have I ever trapped someone. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. I know that. Never have I ever ate an entire pizza alone.
I can eat, Farah. I can, believe me. I just choose not to.
Wow. Never have I ever gotten stopped by airport security.
My
Oh.
friend.
Really?
You know, some airports, the underwire of your bra will set it off, and then all sorts happens. And then when you're a journalist as well,
Ah.
you know, yeah. And some airports don't take too kindly. So,
Wow. Never have I ever used a dating app.
yeah, I never have actually. The Lord has been good to me. I've never used one.
Never have I ever joined a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, no.
No?
No.
Oh wow. Just to say. Okay, we are nearing the end now. This or that, moon and stars or sunrise and sunset?
Sunrise and sunset.
Really?
Mm.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to ask you a concept question, and based on your answers, I'm going to read to you of their name.
Okay.
Okay? So I would like for you to visualize a tree. You can even close your eyes, and I want you to really describe to me what you see. So visualize a tree and describe it to me.
Okay. So there's tons of greenery around. It's very almost evening twilighty. So the sun is setting, and it's brown branch, and it's huge, huge, loads of green leaves, which is providing a lot of shade.
Okay. So the tree is thought to suggest the deepest, unconscious aspects of the personality.
Okay.
Okay. The branches, they said they are
They're
really
big,
big,
and they're
right?
shady,
And they're shady.
and they're very leafy.
They're leafy. So the branches show the degree of social connectedness. So a tree with no branches indicates, for instance, that a person is an introvert.
Wow.
Has little contact with others.
You know, I used to think I was an introvert, and people are like, "My friend, no,
No way, no. I would say that no too. Alright, the trunk, which has a big
thick."
stick. The trunk is often seen as a representation of inner strength.
Wow.
Don't laugh at yourself, you're a strong girl. And the tree crown, you said it has lots of leaves, right? Stands for ideas, thoughts, and self-concept.
Now we'd have to execute them. That's the only thing.
Right?
That's it.
Do you think that was a good description of?
I would say so, yeah. The introvert part is always the extrovert, just because I'm still like, I don't like leaving my house, but apparently, yeah.
But you're quite social.
Do you know, Farah, when I went to the media festival, I did my panel, I stuck around for 2 hours, and then I was like, right, I'm going home. So it's a mix. It can be, I can be, and then at times I'm like, I think what it is also effort. If you want to meet me, I'll never say no, but please come and meet me next to my gym, and I'll see you, and I'll spend all the time in the world with you. But having to come out, and it's too much work, yeah. That's what I'm like, making it easy for me, and then I can be extroverted.
Awesome. Right, we've come to the end of it.
That was so quick, gosh, that passed so quickly.
Yeah, it was quick, right?
Yeah. I
Did you
can't
enjoy
believe it.
yourself?
I loved it.
I enjoyed
This was a
your
lot of
company.
fun, and it's given me a lot to think about as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. Thank you so much for joining me today, for hanging out with me.
It was so worth all the excitement and the wait, honestly. I'm so glad I said yes.
Awesome. Great. Thank you for tuning in and watching. This episode of Self-Care Chats with Farah was not sponsored, but it could be. Drop me a line and let's talk. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support the show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, leave a rating and review, and you can also tip me on my Ko-fi page. As always, all the relevant links will be in the show notes, and for our viewers, check the description box. This has been Farah Khaleck, and remember to love you always.